Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I'm here today with my brother, Kevin Foltz. And if you guys don't know Kevin Foltz, you're missing out, and you're going to know a lot more about him here in a few minutes. My name is Maggie Cavanaugh. I'm the host of Choose Your Best Life. And Kevin is on here with us today, and he's going to share a redemptive story that you don't want to miss. So I want you to get this out to your friends. I want you to comment, and we will follow up on the comments later on, because right now we got too much to cover during this time. We also want to make sure that you have some resources towards the end to find out how you can follow up with Kevin. Watch his ministry as it grows, because God is doing something phenomenal. Kevin, thank you for being on Keys to Your Best Life.
Thank you.
So now I met Kevin as a result of the Rutherford County Recovery Fest that I've been involved with for a couple years. But last year, in the middle of a committee meeting, this guy rolls in, and I ask him for his email address. He says it's Jesus Freak. And I want to tell you, he lives up to that, okay? He lives up to that because he is passionate about Jesus. And everywhere he goes and everywhere he does, it shines through, because Jesus is his deliverer. I'm just saying. Yep. This is how he got his freedom, and this is how he maintains his freedom, and so forth. So Kevin is the founder of Voices in the Wilderness, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little while. He is a coach to those that are overcoming various destructive lifestyles, because we had this conversation before, and addiction is not limited to drugs and alcohol. We're talking porn, we're talking food, we're talking about anything that causes you to lose control of your life. And so that is so important. I'm so glad that you're addressing that. So first, before we get started, Kevin, I want you to give just your mini size, and I know it's hard, okay, testimony, of how you got to where you're at right now. Because I know when I met you, previously you were facing some serious charges, and your life was nearly over. You were going to have a jail ministry on the other side. So tell them a little bit about your coming to Jesus.
Okay, I guess going way back. I was born down in Alabama, and I was born into a really, really difficult situation. There was a physical, mental abuse, and there was other abuses that happened in the neighborhood. And I guess, long story short, I was a broken kid, and that broken kid grew up to be a broken man. Broken people break other people, and I was really, really good at it. I had an identity crisis. I didn't have any idea who I was. And all my value and my self-worth was caught up in that. So I didn't like me. Mm-hmm. And I assumed nobody else did. I didn't believe in God. And so I had this void in my life that I tried filling with everything. I became addicted to alcohol and drugs at a very, very early age. We're talking like 12, 13. I was a binge drinker. And that was the only thing that I could escape those feelings. And that turned into a horrible addiction that spanned decades. I ended up going to prison. I spent years and years in prison, and I tried geographical moves, but no matter where I went, I always showed up. Yeah. And so fast forward, I was a junkie for 30 years. I was drunk for 6, where it's a blur. And I got in a lot of trouble here in Tennessee, and I was facing a life sentence for dealing in drugs and guns. And
because there was gang activity along the way too, wasn't
there?
Oh
yeah, there was gangs, there was lots of violence. You name it, I was involved with it. I wasn't a very good person. I wasn't. I was very.
I think your life was being controlled by the demonic forces. That you'd opened yourself up to it. And
I was very caught up in the flesh and in the world.
Yes.
And it was really bad. And so I found myself on my knees. I was suicidal. It was horrible. And I found my knees. I was homeless, and I had my kids and my wife with me, and I was just so broken. And I got on my knees, and I asked God, if you were real, to manifest, and the way I wanted him to do for me is I wanted to die in my sleep. And so that didn't happen. But I also said, if you could make it all go away. I'm tired of being afraid of dying in prison because I was facing all this time. Well, 3 days later, they showed up and they got me. And they brought me up to here in Murfreesboro, and I went up to the 5th floor into the gang unit, one of the most dangerous cell blocks in the building. And there was this guy cutting hair. His name's John Lavorne, and I don't talk to people when I'm doing time. I gotta, figure out where my hustle's going to be.
Right.
And but for some reason I needed to talk to him, and I went up to talk to him, and the first thing he asked me was, "What can you tell me about Jesus?" And it started from there. 3 days later, I was born again and saved, and I haven't looked back. And so I spent 3 months in there. I bailed out, and that was the grace of God showing up too, because it was a lot of money. And then I went to this awesome, I didn't even know that there were faith-based programs,
Okay.
but I found out there were because the Holy Spirit said that I had to go to one. So obviously there had to be one. And that was Spring to Life. And I went to Spring to Life, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was Jesus from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed. And that
How long were you in that program?
For 3 months.
For 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was 3 months in jail, Jesus from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed, got out for another 3 months of just intent. And they just fueled the fire. They saw something authentic in me, and they did not hinder me in any way. As a matter of fact, Voices in the Wilderness came to fruition up there in Woodbury. It was, yeah. There was a file that sat in the office that if any of the staff wanted to contribute what they thought Voices in the Wilderness should be. So, so it actually started there, and it actually was inspired originally, and it still will be incorporated at some point for pastoral care, because I was concerned about the people that were pouring into me, that who pours into them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a very, very important topic that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
At some point.
It'll be going to that way.
Yeah,
so
that's good.
Well, I ended up going to court finally, and
I remember that we wrote a letter of recommendation.
Yes, you
and
did.
I don't do that for just anybody. All right, but God told me to.
Yeah, and it was absolutely incredible. Judge John Bragg is amazing. District Attorney Eric Farmer and Matt Westmoreland, shout out to you guys. They're awesome too. They believed in me. They saw something in me, and so I'm not going to die in prison, and I'm just on probation for the rest of my life.
The rest of your life is a long time to be on paper, y'all. And I don't know if y'all know the extent of that. So, but I believe that God will reevaluate that. So when he sees that, the level of accountability around you, though, is safety. The Bible says that there's safety in the multitude of counselors and so forth. So, hey, if you got to be on paper for your life, okay, but which is very encouraging, because some people they would have the attitude of, I'm going to prison for life, so what does it matter? I'm gonna go out and get high. I'm gonna go do my thing. I'm gonna live in the flesh. I'm gonna go out big.
Well, but in my situation, it didn't matter where my address was. I got to that point where I recognized that we're not given to the spirit of fear, but the power of love.
Yes.
And my address did not matter, as long as I could be a servant and glorify God and edify God in all things. It didn't matter where I was, because I was free on the inside.
Wow.
And was it John 8:36? Who the Son sets free is free indeed. And I was free indeed.
Yes, indeed you were, because I watched the walk, and I was telling before the broadcast, I feel like I have some level of discernment, and I knew that was authentic transformation. That was no jail religion. That was no I'm going to get out of this circumstance and go do this thing, because and you made a powerful statement. My address does not matter, because this world is not our home. This is just our passing through, and while we're here.
Right.
But so many people, Kevin, put emphasis on what we're doing now. God has a call and a purpose on everybody's life. So let's talk about Voice for Wilderness, because I have a feeling you've got a little bit of an announcement that we're going to cover as well. Because Voices in the Wilderness, when I heard that, I thought about, prepare ye the way of the Lord.
Right, yeah.
And so, and I could just almost see you like being like a John the Baptist type of thing. So it's really kind of cool. But tell them, what is Voices of the Wilderness, and what is it transpiring into?
Okay, all right. Voices in the Wilderness is a recovery, networking, and liaison service. And basically, if someone is going through life-controlling issues, or a family has a loved one, they can reach out to me. And what I do is I plug them into the resources they need to overcome whatever it is they're going through, whether that looks like detox, rehab, counseling, a hot meal, clothing, sometimes even shelter. The neat thing about what I do is, once that Voices in the Wilderness gets involved, we walk with them every step of the way. It's not just, here, I'm going to plug you in and walk away.
Right.
I want to be your friend. I want to do life with you. It's about discipleship, and never leaving. I want to be that person that no matter what time it is, at 3 o'clock in the morning, and if you're hurting, you can call me. I even told people that if you don't have a life controlling issue and you find my phone number, you can get, pardon me, if you get cut off in traffic and you have a moment, you can call me and we can pray our way through it. You know? Yeah, it's about doing life with people.
Be careful as your ministry grows. That'll be hard. You got to set some boundaries, brother. I'm just telling you. Learning from experience here.
Yeah, I do have a tendency to overcommit sometimes. But praise Jesus, He gives me the power and the energy to go through it. So that's basically how it started, and it's amazing now. We get phone calls from all across the United States, a lot through the Southeast. So I've had to plug into resources in other states to help people get where they need to go.
Sure.
And 99% of our phone calls are from females and family of females, and it's rough, especially when I don't have. I get a little emotional when we don't have enough resources, and my hands are tied, and there's times where I can't do anything, and then they disappear because a lot of times there's amazing programs, but a lot of times there's some money that, and sometimes I can't find the funding.
Resources.
Yeah. Or they don't need the money, but there's a 30, 60, 90-day out waiting list.
Right.
And
it's very common.
They disappear.
They relapse in the meantime.
Yeah. Or I get that phone call
that they passed
away from an overdose, and that is so unacceptable.
It is.
And so the Holy Spirit has said, Kevin, got to start a program. And so that's where we're at now. Voices in the Wilderness. We're going to have a women's program for life controlling issues. It's a community situation. It's a community problem. It affects the community. So we're inviting the community. This is not my program. This is God's program. He is at the helm of this. He's directing it. And He has directed me to invite people that He speaks into to be on a panel. And I'm gonna go to World Outreach, the Experience Community, New Vision, Life Point, Water's Edge. There are so many churches. You're all invited. Let's come. Let's get together. Sit down with us. Let's have some coffee. Let's talk about this. Let's pray over it. Let's invite the Holy Spirit to come in and lay out what this program is supposed to be.
Love it.
Can I drop some names now?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So as long as it's okay with the people's names are used.
Yes. All right. So
I can't, I'm innocent bystander.
Okay. These are the people that have committed to take time out of their schedules to be a part of this. They are wise. They are so full of love.
I see your list. I'm impressed. That's
okay,
good.
So we're going to start off with James Harper and Sarah Kill.
I love James. Jamie and Savon.
Yes, they are both regional faith-based community coordinators. One is with the Metro Drug Coalition. The other one is with the Prevention Coalition for Success. Yes, I'm so stoked. All right, for our local rehabs, Bruce Stanley, who is the COO of Spring to Life Recovery, and also author.
And that's where you went.
Yes,
okay.
I'm good friends with Bruce, and he's an amazing guy. I love you, Bruce. And he's also the author of Lost and Found, and that's the curriculum they teach. 4 pillars and 7 principles. It is absolutely incredible. Stephanie McGreevy, the director of Women at the Well in Athens, Tennessee.
Nice.
That is a powerful, powerful program that is changing lives and saving souls. She is coming to tell us what they do at Women at the Well, because we want some of Women at the Well and Voices in the Wilderness. Absolutely.
Yes.
We have Renee Beecham with Right Road Ministries. She's been working with those women for 10 years out there, and
I need to connect with her. She's one that's been on my radar to connect with. And
absolutely. No, her and Steve are just beautiful, beautiful people.
Love that.
And then we have Sarah Keel. I've already announced her. Oh, April Barnes with the Next Door. Yes.
Everybody. Wow.
Yeah, she's the director of the Outreach and Business Development. And then 2 ladies that are in the trenches. We have Patience Virtue with Secret Sister.
I love that, man. I love that. Okay, because
Yeah.
that target is the younger girls, and that's
Yeah.
kind of where my heart's at, is to get them before their identity gets caught up with. I will be
Right.
like this for the rest of my life.
Yeah,
So,
Patience
I
is
love
at
that.
9:40. She takes the
Yes.
jail ministry in there. And Mary Beth Young at Pleasant View Baptist Church, she goes to and ministers to the women that are in the Cannon County Jail.
Awesome.
And so we're going to have, and basically this is going to be a think tank, a discussion. We need a mission statement. We need to find people that are like Isaiah. I'm here, send me, that want to be on a board of directors. And then and just going to move from there and see what God
Nice.
reveals. And
I love the strategy. I love that the Lord had you gather all of the, the people that can speak into it, and because you've got a very diverse panel there.
Yes.
Of people that can speak into it. And I love your obedience. And I know some people would be like, God's called you to start a women's thing, but I believe that God's got a men's thing coming on the trail into that.
Yes.
But I agree with you, because there are a lot of resources for men, and
Yes.
and women. It used to be like, I'm not hating on the men's programs. We need them, and we need more of them. We need as many programs as we can get. But it is hard for women.
Yes.
Because when you find a good quality program, there's a long waiting list.
Yes.
And so we want to see the doors open to this. So y'all, first of all, I want to ask you to be praying for Kevin and his vision and his mission and the transition of starting the 501c3 and all the things that's got to come into
Yes.
play. Pray for his future committee and board of directors and all of the people that are going to be involved. This is life-changing, okay? When you've got someone who's been commissioned by the Lord to do something like that, if you cannot do it yourself, you need to support those that do it, And so, and he is, this is exciting stuff.
Yeah.
So I love this. I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
So, and
It's
I know
going to be May 16th, and
Okay.
9 a.m. to 12 a.m. And the location, we were still waiting for confirmation, but it'll be at a local church that's near and dear to my heart. And
okay, good.
before I can announce that, I've got to get the official the stamp from the pastor.
To get the okay. I know what it's going to be. I'm not telling. I'm not saying. I'm not getting.
But it's going to be awesome.
This is good, because this is what we need to do. And this is how Kevin and I met. We met by people coming together, concerned citizens, people that have their own histories, their own stories, people that have loved ones that are struggling with various life-controlling situations. And so we have got to come together, because I believe that we do better together. I believe that community, and I think Dr. Monty Burks always makes a statement, the community is the opposite or addiction. A community is the opposite of addiction.
Oh,
because
yeah.
addiction, you're so isolated and
Right.
you're pulled off, and the enemy will take you and he'll pull you off and make you think that you're the only person that's like this, and that and take away your support system and attack you with the lies of the enemy that nothing could ever change. You're looking at a changed man right here, and this is not, like I said, no short-term thing. He is passionate about it, and I'll just share this. Before we started, we were talking about the doors of life and the flesh and things like that. And so I believe Kevin's success in walking out his journey is his submission to the Lord and his willingness to crucify his flesh. and not everybody's willing to do that. Let's face it. Okay. They're like willing to say, okay, well, this, and they do things in their own strength. But because that you have opened up and said, here am I, send me, and I don't care what my address is, and I'm going to, I spent years in bondage, and now I'm spending years in freedom, and I'm going to help everybody I can. It's almost like you're just stepping on the neck of the enemy and you're snatching people right out of hell. And I love that, but it's because he's submitted servant. I'm just saying, this is why, this is going down. So there's some other things you do. I know that you work at Experience Community Church.
Yes.
We love Pastor Corey. We all love Pastor Corey. Great congregation and community of believers. But you also have this other gig, this fairly new gig, the Lifeline magazine. Which I think it's super cool. I think the first time I heard about it was at Recovery Fest. They came by and they passed out some. And then I also met a young lady from there at, I'm heavily involved in Christian Women in Media. And I met her. She was at one of our luncheons.
Oh, Miss Dolores.
So probably.
Probably
Dolores, if that's you, please forgive me for not remembering your name. Some days I don't know my name. I'm just saying. So, okay, so tell us about Lifeline. Tell us about what the purpose and mission is behind Lifeline.
Okay, absolutely. All right, so I got some copies here. Great cover art. And
that is so cool.
Like this issue, this is June 2019. And defeating the enemy PTSD, overcoming suicidal thoughts.
Valuable information right now.
Yeah. This one, does God forgive intrusive thoughts? Finding Forgiveness, Heart Splinters is the name of it. And then A Return to PTSD, How Floating is Bringing Relief. It's a resource where people that are going through life-controlling issues, or they have a loved one that is going through it, and we've all been in those situations where I know me personally, I've been down in a hole and I had so many things going on wrong. I didn't know where to turn, and there was sometimes I just didn't want to turn. And having a publication that is full of resources, there's all kind of different outreaches, ministries, counseling that advertise in there.
Oh, this is an important topic. I don't mean to interrupt you,
yeah.
but hey, look, these are the type of things we need to be talking about, people. We need to be talking about these, and to have a publication that's willing to talk about the tough stuff is exciting.
Oh yeah, this is the current issue, and it is bold, in your face, relevant issues on current problems that is breaking down our society, and it's okay to look in these magazines in this magazine and go, hey, there I am.
Yes.
And what, like, here's where I'm at, here's where I want to be, and how can I get there?
I love that. I love that.
So it's about connection.
A valuable resource.
Yeah.
Okay, so I noticed that I was one of my fellow colleagues, John Murphy. I was actually on Bridges with his wife. They're really,
cool.
Rock House is awesome. I love those people. And he did this article on escaping pornography. So what is if someone do you have guest people who write articles and they submit them to you all for publishing?
I tell you what, if you have an article that you want, we'll give you the email.
Okay.
Submit them. We'll look at them and
consider it. Right.
Oh, absolutely.
No strings attached here. Okay. We're not saying that they're going to publish your article.
Right.
But if you have something that is valuable, that these are important, important topics that need to be talked about. And I also noticed through here, I mean, I know my sister over at Amelia's Closet, and I know Deanne over here at Eagle's Nest, and of course Branches, and look, there's Kim. I mean, I know a lot of people in this magazine.
Oh, and if you're
wanting to advertise, what is the process?
Well, if your outreach offers a free service, we'll let you advertise for free.
What?
Yes.
How come I'm not in here? I have pro bono people.
No, but
this is awesome.
However, I do advertising sales with it, and if you would like to join the Lifeline family, get a hold of me. And to get you in the door, I will give you an amazing deal. If you want to advertise and submit your ad before March 31st, there's a 10% off.
Yay.
I will give you more. If you mention Moving Forward Ministries, I'll give you a little bit more off of that. And and we'll even, if you maybe take out 2 ads, I may give you 1 for free.
Wow.
But to give you an idea of what the money goes for, this is a connection card. And on the back of it, it has different rehabs and numbers. This is there's going to be an updated one. We give this to first responders and law enforcement.
Oh.
So when they're on a scene and they're dealing with the situation, and possibly it's one of those where they don't have to incarcerate them, but they definitely need help. They can give them this card so that they know that they're not alone, and it's an opportunity for law enforcement and the first responders to connect.
I love it.
In the event that they do have to take them into custody or transport them to the hospital, they can give it to the family. So the family, during this time, has a resource they can reach out to plug in to help get some help for a friend or family member, or the individual. They can put it on their property so that when they're released or let go, they're not just being turned away. They've got something where they can maybe today's the day that I'm going to get some help, and Lifeline wants to stand in that gap and help them get the help that they need.
That's so powerful and so needed. I'm incredibly thankful for this. Now, is this produced out of the Experience Church community? Well,
originally it was a resource of that, but now Lifeline has become its own entity, and we are now asking other churches to join us.
Nice.
We want
I love
to we want to know your church's outreach. We want to know what your church is doing. We want you to advertise in here. We want to make this a community magazine for the community, by the community. It is free to the public, and the only way we can do that is through advertising sales. If you're interested in having issues, issues of issues.
Yeah, we all have issues. But we want to know about other issues.
If you would like to have this publication at your location to give away to the public, contact me and we can make that happen. We would love for you to become a distributor of the magazine. And I guess give them the emails.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, what we'll do is, if you don't mind, later today, if you'll go on the broadcast and put those in the comments, so that they have it and they don't have to go find a pen or possibly get the wrong link. It happens a lot when you're putting out links. Let me ask you: is this available online? So we may have people out of the region watching. Is this available online? Is it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
So they can like just download like a PDF of it, or
yes.
Okay, excellent. Now, how often is it? Is it monthly?
It's
quarterly. Quarterly. Okay, it's quarterly.
Yep.
So listen, this is a valuable tool, and if you have any type of business service where people are sitting in your waiting room, I want you to reach out to Kevin, because years ago, if I was a young lady and I was looking at this and I picked this up inside of getting an oil change, even. I mean, because these can go right? Getting an oil change and seeing that overcoming suicidal thoughts. Do you know that could save my life? I mean, it really could. Defeating PTSD if I was a veteran, and I was getting my oil changed. Or maybe you're going to get a haircut and, you're sitting there going, oh yeah, let's see what is there. And the art is so amazing. I don't know. Who does your artwork? Is it the same person that does all this stuff?
That's Dolores.
Dolores does this? She's incredible.
Incredible.
Dolores, you are incredible, dear. Oh, look. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Look at this, y'all. She's really good. I like this.
Yeah.
And check this out. I think this is the first issue I seen. Was this the very first issue?
I believe so.
Yeah. I think this is the one that I seen. I have this, and I was like, whoa. My gosh, this is a powerful, powerful magazine. Yes. Powerful tool. So, wow, that is amazing.
And this is Bruce Stanley. He's going to be one of our guest speakers. And
awesome. Now, is Bruce the founder of Spring to Life?
He's
no, he's not the founder, but he's the director, right?
He's the chief operating officer.
Chief operating officer.
Yes,
Let's get the
he's the author of Lost and Found, which is the curriculum that they teach, and we definitely want to incorporate the Lost and Found curriculum with Voices in the Wilderness.
You're going to use that's a great. I've heard great things about the curriculum. There's so many things out there to pick from. Yeah. I'm looking at a lot of academic curriculum right now to go with what we've written with Forward, and there's so much good tools out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If anybody's interested in the 4 pillars and 7 principles, get at me and we can talk some Lost and Found. I mean, I live my life by 4 pillars and 7 principles, and it's absolutely incredible.
That's the way to do it, and that's the way to continue to walk out your freedom. It is for freedom. We've been set free, and I appreciate Kevin taking the time today. So what type of key would you like to leave with the audience?
Awesome. I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Well,
I always, at the end of the broadcast, I always like to have a key, because it's keys to your best life, and I want you to have a virtual keychain, and the people that come on this show, I want them to be able to leave you with a key that you can hang on to. So what do you got for us?
She asked for a key, but I'm always over the top, so I brought a sword.
All right, sword work. We like the sword of the spirit.
So if you go to 2 Corinthians 5:17, therefore, if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. And that's basically how I live my life. 2 Corinthians 5:17, when the world or the flesh wants to try to remind me who I was, I remind who I am in Christ.
Says,
I'm a new creation. Yes. And the neat thing about being a new creation, it falls, the sermon that I was working on earlier is the renewal of the mind. And it's a renewal that is day by day.
Yeah, I walked in, I had an interview before Kevin. I walk in and he's got like all this scriptures and everything everywhere. And I'm going, So cool. So, matter of fact, find that page. I want to take a picture of it. I'm going to make a meme out of it.
Okay, yeah, sure.
An outline of Kevin's sermon. So you can see that God has obviously transformed my brother. He has brought him out of darkness into his marvelous light, and he's using him to help other people. So I want you to go find Kevin's Facebook page. Does Voice of the Wilderness have a Facebook page yet?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yeah, we have a page.
Okay, so I want you to go like the page. I want you to invite other people to like the page, because we need to hear that cry in the wilderness. Prepare the way to your freedom, man. Today is the day. And so if, it is what he said was very important. And you need to take heed to that there are people out there that are hurting. And sometimes we can't get them on. That's, I know from ministry, it's heartbreaking. I had a woman that someone referred me to, and I had multiple conversations with her. She actually had a bed and refused it. And it's so rare. And, you work so hard to find somebody a level of freedom. And then they're like, no, now's not the time. Don't give up on those people.
Yeah, please don't. And if you would like to partner up and join me with doing God's will with Voices in the Wilderness, this is an open invitation. Come on. Come on, help out.
Yes, and definitely at minimum, pray for this ministry, because I'm so excited about what God's doing. Well, Kevin, I appreciate you being on the show.
Thank you.
I am super excited about this. We're going to get this out to your friends. Share this, like this, comment. We will respond to the comments later. We weren't ignoring y'all, because I know in some broadcasts I'll interact with people, but we had too much valuable information to get to you. And on Keys to Your Best Life, it's more of an interview type format, so I want to keep it that way. But I'm thankful, because last week I tried to interview Kevin, and the enemy showed up. Right. And we took authority over him, and we got authority over him, but the problem was we neither one of us had time to do this until today. Right. So Kevin came here today to do this, because we were not going to let the enemy win. We were going to get that voice of the wilderness out there, crying in the wilderness for the freedom of people, for the upcoming things that are going on. Make sure that if you're interested in Lifeline, this is a valuable resource. Everybody needs to have it everywhere. You need to share it everywhere. If you're out of the region, please make sure that you go online and check that out, because we do better together.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
Is where it's at. And so we appreciate you. God bless you. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya.